Hope everybody's doing good today. Yo, we got a special guest in the motherfucking building. I'm super excited to have this guest. But yeah, man, like I said last week, we gonna start expanding the show, and we're gonna talk about like real life topics, not just relationships. This is gonna be the safe place, It's still Why You Gotta Leave show, but it's the safe place, It's a safe place to come and vent. We get the hype. Y'all got any questions? Y'all feel free to talk in the chat, or this goes on YouTube, so you can leave the comments in the YouTube section. And we gonna get it going. We gonna get all the bombs going. Turn it up, you know what I mean? So I'm add my guest in right now. Yeah, we got a special guest. Do you want to introduce yourself to the stream, to the live? We live right now, so you want to introduce yourself?
What's up, everybody? My name is Linda, but I'm also known as Scream Linda from all my streams. I see my people here. What's up, Scream team? How are you guys doing today?
Quick question. Why is it Scream Linda?
I play survival horror games. Like, that's my thing, and you will always catch me screaming on my streams. Like, it's bad.
And falling out your chair, I presume.
I didn't think you were gonna attack me like that already.
I'm just saying. You gotta give the grabbing point, so they pull up to the stream like.
It is what it is.
Yeah. So Oh, hold on. Yeah. So I kind of wanted to touch. How I do the show. I really touch base. On things like certain topics in the life, and me and you've had prior chats to this about kind of like what we want to discuss. So yep. And like I always tell the chat, make sure you're friendly. My chat is always friendly, so if you have any questions, I will ask her too, so the dialogue's not all over the place, so she can focus on the conversation with Dr. Zo. But yeah, so we kind of want to tap into this whole depression, and it's kind of like people kind of skim over it, like they just like the word depressed is like very used a lot now and stuff like that, and it's I think more of the power has been taken out of the word. So could you kind of elaborate on that, and then I guess I'll just give you ask you a bunch of questions.
All right. Well, my full diagnosis is bipolar depression. I don't only have depression. Mm-hmm. So, bipolar depression, basically, I have a climax and a very low point of my moods. It's just like a roller coaster, honestly. There's no really steady point when it comes to bipolar depression, unless you have it like under the wraps, which I'm still working on now. I was diagnosed when I was 12. Mm-hmm. It started off with like trouble sleeping, and I would literally go to bed like 6 a.m. and mom would wake me up for school. I'm like, no, I can't go to school. I just went to sleep.
Yeah.
And she always wrote it off. Like, what you mean you just went to sleep? I'm like, literally, I just went to sleep. You woke up, I'm going to sleep. I'm not going to school.
Yeah.
So after like 50, 60 days of missed school, like if you look at my report card, boy, so bad.
Was a hell of absences.
So many, and nobody was understanding like what is the reason this girl's absent. So my mom was like, all right, we're gonna take you to a sleep specialist. Like, we're gonna get this shit figured out. It's like, okay, no problem. We go to a sleep specialist. I have this like sleep journal where they like record when you go to bed, when you randomly wake up, when you go back to sleep, and it was never consistent. Mm-hmm. My sleep diary was never consistent. So they were like, I think there's something more. Mm-hmm. So they referred my mom to a psychiatrist. And from there, that's when they were able to diagnose me with bipolar depression. My mom went home. She told my dad, like, listen, our daughter has this. And my dad's like, oh, I have the same thing. Mm. And my mom looks at him like, what you mean you have the same thing? What are you talking about? My mom and dad were together like 35 years. You would think that's something that's addressed. But
Yeah.
apparently it wasn't. So we kind of all figured out together as a family, like, all right, dad got it, I got it. This makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it's genetical, I guess, right?
Yeah.
So
So
when you so if we can dial back a little bit, so the sleep and stuff. So what was it? You couldn't just sleep? Was it hard for you to sleep, or you was just kind of just up?
racing thoughts all the time. Like I was always thinking about something, even when I unplugged my phone because I felt like, maybe I'm just too distracted. I'm too focused on what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
Let me put that away. Let me turn off the TV. Let me unplug the Xbox. Like maybe I'm just too active
Mm-hmm.
socially. Even after doing that
And
for many, many
this was
days.
at 11 years old, 11, 12 years
Yeah.
old.
Yep. Even after like noticing that I'm very social, I'm very active, maybe that's what it is, that I shouldn't speak to people right before bed because they're gonna hype me up. I want to stay up. Let me try to dial it back. Even with that, it was not working. I was
Wow.
trying so many things just to fall asleep. Like, yo, maybe if I go play with my boys outside, we go play like handball or something, run around, uh, I'll burn energy and I'll go to sleep. Nope. Nothing worked. So that sleep was like puzzling for me. And being 11 and that confused, it was
Mm-hmm.
very hard for me.
So obviously, when you found out at such a young age, did you even understand it? Was you like
No,
given meds?
not at
Like,
all.
what was your thought pattern at that time?
So at 12, when I'm sitting in front of a psychiatrist and they're saying, well, this is what you have and this is what you need to do, I'm going to listen. So I'm like, okay, no problem. This is what I have. I guess I got to listen to the psychiatrist. Let me just take my medication. So that's what kind of started a whole cycle. I started medication and I started a very low dosage, like 5 milligrams, let's say. Every few months, they would increase it. So now I'm on 10. Now I'm on 20. Now I'm taking 2 different pills. Now I need to take 3 pills because one pill is not balancing with the other pill. So I felt like a guinea pig at that point.
Yeah.
And this happened
So what was
until
the
I was,
effects of these pills? What was happening?
all right. So, um, when I was 14, that's when I really hit like that depression, that low. That was when I first experienced it. I felt like my parents were very preoccupied. I had a little brother.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so they were very busy. My 2 older sisters weren't really, around. I mean, they're older than me. They got their boyfriends, they got their lives. So being the middle child, I just felt like I'm too young to do certain stuff, but I'm too old to do other stuff. Like, where's my middle ground?
Yeah.
And I was just stumbling trying to figure out where do I fit. So I had a boyfriend at 14, freshman in high school, and I feel like I threw all my emotions on him. Like maybe he's gonna be the reason, like what makes me happy,
Yeah.
you know? I was trying to find something to make me understand what I was going through. So I invested everything into him. And
So now
I wasn't
at 14 years old,
at
you
14 years old.
you figured this boyfriend that you're dating is gonna
Mhm.
be your escape.
Mhm.
Okay.
Basically. And it didn't work that way. Um Later down the road, he was diagnosed with bipolar as well. So that didn't work out too well. But he wasn't very affectionate like I am. I'm overly affectionate, I feel. So basically giving all your love to someone and not receiving it back, that fucks with you, especially at that age.
Yeah, definitely. You're so green. Like you
Yeah,
don't know what's going on and how to handle your emotions.
exactly. So that's what led to my depression, and I fake cut myself. I cut
Mm-hmm.
myself on my finger, and those paper cuts be different.
Those be
So
hurting.
they be bleeding, all right? So I had enough blood on my finger to basically fake another cut. And I rubbed the blood on my stomach and I took a picture of it. I went to my therapist and I was like, yeah, I'm not feeling too good. I cut myself a few weeks ago. This was my mistake. She goes, what do you mean you cut yourself? I was like, I cut myself. Here's a picture, not really knowing what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
So she gets on the phone and she's like, we have a 14-year-old female, bipolar disorder, suicidal. And I'm like, who is she calling? So now I'm getting nervous and I was like, it's too late to take it back.
Yeah, definitely.
It's too late.
So where was your like mother and your father at this point in time?
My mom didn't go to the sessions with me. Me and her didn't really have a close relationship when I was younger. And it's really sad because, like, when you think back on your childhood, you have those key memories.
Yeah.
This is something I'm still healing from.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember my mom. And she was a stay-at-home mom, so I know she was there. Like, I know my mom was there. We didn't have babysitters. We didn't have anything, but I don't have memory of her.
This obviously now is, you're 14 years old. You're going through your first relationship. Mm-hmm. You're taking this medication that you don't feel is even working or understanding it.
Yeah.
So you have all these emotions at a crazy height right now.
Yes.
And your mother is not around.
No.
Mentally and emotionally, and sounds like physically too.
Yeah.
Right. So now you're going to see a therapist, and you're almost, when you told her you cut yourself, you almost was looking for like that attention, I guess.
Yes. I feel like that's what it was. I was looking for someone to give a shit, basically. Like, I needed someone to care about me because I cared so much about everyone else.
Okay.
So I got admitted to a hospital.
Like
that was
right
the first time.
right then and there?
Right then and there, she told me this is what's going to happen. I loved my therapist. I seen her up until I was about 18 years old. She was a child therapist.
Okay.
So from 11 to 18, I had one therapist. Like, that was my girl. And at 18 was when she basically told me, I'm a child therapist. I kept you this long because of the relationship we have, but I can no longer see you. So that was a huge, thing going on. But she told me, she broke it down. This is what's going to happen. I know you can handle this. I'm sending you here. I feel like, you're a jeopardy to your health right now. And maybe this will be the help that you need. You're not going to school. You're always sad. So maybe being monitored on all these medications will help. Exactly.
Yeah.
They were wrong. They were so wrong about that one. I was in the hospital for about 2 weeks. I want to say 2 weeks. Every single day, I broke. I cried. I was with people that I didn't feel I belonged next to, I'm like, I have, just anger and sadness. Why am I with someone that tried to kill their aunt?
Yeah, so you're in a facility where it's like really psycho people.
Yes,
and you just got like this thing where you're like, oh, I need attention, I need help, but not this kind of like tie me up, like, and
why am I here? That was the question I always asked myself. What is going on? What am I doing so wrong?
So what was you homeschooled? Like, what was going on with school? What was going on?
I wasn't homeschooled until later on.
Okay.
So still a freshman. I go through the hospitalization process. 2 weeks. I'm hysterical. Like, I can't even call my mom. Like, you don't have phone privileges there. I couldn't call my best friend. I couldn't call my boyfriend. So I had to wait for them to call me. And I think that's what hurt the most because nobody was reaching out to me. So here I am, in the hospital, still waiting for someone to care. And I'm not getting that still.
Wow.
So after 2 weeks, I told my mom, I can't be here no more. I need you to sign me out. I promise I won't do anything. Like, I remember crying my ass off.
Take your time, man.
Yeah.
Just take your time.
I told her, I don't deserve to be here. You need to trust me. And she signed me out. But in the process of signing me out, they told her, if something happens to your daughter, if she hurts herself or anything, we're coming after you. because you just signed her out and she's not ready. She's a minor. She's not ready to be signed out, we feel. My mom trusted me with this. She said, Linda, don't fuck me up. I remember this. I said, Linda, do not fuck me up. And I tried to do better. I tried to be better. Yeah. I was going to school, and I remember everyone stopping me in the hallway. Where have you been? And I'm not going to say, hey, I was locked up in a hospital for like 2 weeks, but I'm good. It's just, how do you bring that up at 14?
Yeah, like you're at this point in time, you're living like a grown person life and traumatized.
Yes. So because of being hospitalized, I now developed anxiety. My first day back to school, I was shaking through the hallways. And I'm like, okay, I think I'm going to die. What's happening? Why am I shaking? I've never felt this before. My best friend at the time, can
you touch on the feelings you was going through, like of anxiety? Like what was the feeling? What was like?
Okay. Basically, my body feels extremely hot. Like I just want to rip off my clothes, because it's just like I feel like I'm gonna, like steam is coming out of me. I'm just burning up. And then I developed this shake where I'm just like a wet dog that just came inside from the rain. Like I'm just there shaking. I can't speak, and sometimes I feel like I can't breathe. So
you almost feel claustrophobic.
It was bad.
Yeah.
And not feeling that before, and finally feeling that, I was like, yo, I'm gonna die. That was my thing. I'm gonna die. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
So my best friend grabbed me by the arm and she said, we're going to the hospital right now. My sister worked at a clinic very close to my house. So we cut school and we went all the way to my sister's job. And by the time I got there, I was fine. I'm laughing, I'm smiling, the shake is gone. And I don't know how to explain this now. You know, I just cut school. Something was wrong, but I can't tell you what that something is.
Yeah.
So that stirred up something else, you know, and back to my therapist. I explained it as well as I possibly could. But again, being 14, that's a lot to kind of soak up. And I didn't get diagnosed with, I think it's called agoraphobia. Something like that. I don't remember the name, but it's anxiety. I didn't get diagnosed fully until I was about 16.
Wow.
So that's 2 years of dealing with this, still not knowing what's going on.
By yourself at this time?
Yes, by myself.
And where was your father?
My father, since he has mental illness as well, growing up, we were good. Like, I always remember him being there. But as I grew up, we clashed a lot. Yeah. Because it was like, when he was manic, I was depressed. When I'm manic, he's now depressed. So we couldn't really find that level where we could just talk.
So having all these like different I guess episodes or different like elements of basically attacks on yourself, yeah. How was you dealing with like life events? Like, I know you mentioned a boyfriend, but like friendships, relationships, like how was you continuing to deal with those things? Like, and how did those impact you in like, you know, did they make things worse? Did they make things better? Was it a slight relief at times?
At the time, I feel like my friendships made things a little worse. Mm-hmm. Because now people are dumping their problems on me while I'm trying to fix mine. And I fell off a lot of friendships during that time. And it still hurts me. I'm going to be completely honest. It still hurts me because it's like, maybe I could have done more, but that's just part of the healing. You know, you just have to show yourself more love and not be so hard on yourself. And that's something that I'm still working on. Like, I can't be too hard on myself.
That obviously took you a long time to understand it, because
Yeah,
You don't even have the support around you, so you don't even have the example of love.
exactly.
So you know, it's kind of like, all right, before we go there, continue, because you was at 16 years old. I kind of want to build this story, and like, so people can see, like, you know, paint this picture for what's going on. You hit 16 now.
Okay. So 16, I'm still with the same guy. So from freshman, um, sophomore, I'm in the same school, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
At during when I was 15, I was still in the same school, still struggling to show up. And at 15 is when my friends started drifting, because now it's already the second year of school and they know everybody in the school. They've made a bunch of friends, and I'm the absent one that shows up whenever she feels like it, you know?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Even teachers would attack me like, oh, look who decided to show up today. And shit like that. I don't know. I just feel like people need to be more respectful because they don't know what anybody is going through at any given time.
At any given time.
So I remember going to my first period class, and once that teacher would say that, I'm like, I'm out, I'm cutting, I'm going home. Whenever I cut, instead of going to do, whatever you would do when you're in high school, I would go home. I would generally just go home.
Because you felt attacked.
I just felt like I didn't belong, because whenever I tried, I was basically pushed away. So they told me I couldn't stay there anymore in that school because I was just messing up so bad. My mom was always on the phone with the principal and the guidance counselor, I think. I honestly don't remember. And they basically told my mom, this is an ACS case. Like, if your daughter don't come to school, this is an ACS case.
Damn.
Now I have two brothers at this time. I have two little brothers, and my mom would cry to me, Linda, please go to school. I do not need my kids taken away from me because you don't want to go to school. Now it's already, like 4 years me dealing with this, and nobody still understands it. So they transferred me out. I went to another school. This school messed me up more than the last school.
So what, we in grade 11 now?
We're in 11.
Okay.
I went to this school, and basically they told me all these kids that I'm with have the same problems as me. So I should fit in, right? I'm in a small setting class now. I'm used to having 20, 25 people in a class. Now I'm sitting in a little circle table with 6 people. So absorbing all of that, now I really feel out of place.
So did they know about your disorder or no?
Yes, that school was inside of a bigger school.
Okay, so it's kind of like that was the section of like people that had certain problems, diagnosed with certain problems. Got you.
Mm-hmm. Right. But like, not trying to shit on the people that had other problems. I was just not that extreme, I guess you can say. There were people dealing with a lot of stuff, like people in wheelchairs, people couldn't walk, like some people couldn't talk, and I'm like, they're confused. Like, why am I here? Why am I here right now?
So they're basically just putting a band-aid on a wound, like, hey, we think that works, store over there, and all of these things now are making it worse.
Yes.
Because they're not it's like, hey, I'm sick. Okay, do you want some vodka? Like, it's like, what are you talking about? Like, I said, I'm sick. You know what I mean? So now you're in a place with all types of different people that disabilities, all of that shit. Yeah.
And that made me more anxious, extremely anxious, because I'm like, yo, I can't believe there's people that deal with these type of things. Now I'm becoming sympathetic, and I'm absorbing all of this now. So from September to about November, I want to say, I was going to school consistently. After the first report card, I started fucking up. Again because all the teachers basically would say, she's good when she's here. She's good when she's here, but when she's not here, we can't really, grade her or anything. So now I'm being pushed to show up on days when I don't sleep. I feel depressed. I don't want to be around people. Like, that school was too much for me in general.
So are you still popping meds?
I'm still popping meds this whole time.
So what was your you mentioned you was in a relationship at this time. What was the what was the dynamic of the relationship? What was that like? Like, how was that?
I was still with him now in another school. We spoke all the time on the phone. He was a gamer, I'm a gamer, so I thought that was good. I have someone that understands what I love. But it became to the point that he would play and he would just drown me out. And it's like, boy, I play video games. I understand this. But if you're taking like a whole day to respond to me, I don't understand that.
Yeah.
So we started clashing a lot, but we stuck it through. I can't leave relationships. I'm usually not the person to leave a relationship. They usually leave me because I always see the good in people. I always want to believe, they just had a bad day, maybe. I don't think they're like this. Yeah. I couldn't fall in love with someone that's this bad,
Yeah.
So I'm absent again. I'm messing up. I go back to the hospital. This time, I go willingly. After being absent for a while, they told me, you're showing signs of depression again, and we don't want anything to happen to you. So we think it's best if you go back to the hospital.
So what are the signs of depression?
Okay. So when it comes, I can't speak on everybody, but for me, when I'm depressed, little tasks that we do on the daily become so hard. Mm-hmm. Getting out of bed, that's a fucking chore. Going to brush your teeth, that's a chore. Going to take a bath, we all, every day we're taking baths. That becomes a struggle. You don't want to interact. You don't want to eat. There's no appetite there. You just basically become lifeless and robotic. And I feel like that's what the medication was doing to me. I'm normally animated. I'm all over the place, Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And the fact that the medication suppressed all of that, it's just like, all right, what y'all want me to do? Because I don't feel like doing anything.
I got you.
So I'm depressed now. My psychiatrist told me, how do you feel about going back to Four Winds? At this point, I didn't care. I'm like, you know what? Let's go. Because nothing here is working for me in the real world. So might as well go have some fun in the freaking mental ward, right? Like, that's my mindset now. I'm 16. That's my mindset.
Wow.
I go to the psych ward. And this time I have a better attitude towards it. The last time I wanted out. This time I'm like, I want in. Let's see. What are you guys going to help me with? I was more open in the group discussions. I was more open to socializing. It was to the point where basically they had different facilities inside of the main facility. Mm-hmm. So when you first get there, you're in the hub. You're with all the doctors. You're with everything. You can't even get up to pee without someone knowing about it. I did so good that they moved me to another facility that had like a playroom. Here, I learned how to play Guitar Hero. I learned how to play DDR. Like, I learned how to channel my emotions and let them out in a different way. This time I have phone privileges, so I was calling people up. Like, yo, what's up? How you doing in the real world? Like, I'm here playing Guitar Hero and DDR. What you doing?
Yeah.
So after about a month, they said, we feel like you're ready to be out. You proved to us, your medications are stable. You're good. I was like, cool. I feel good. Let's go. I go home. Back to school. School was my downfall. I don't know what it was. School was just my downfall.
What was it? Interacting with teachers?
Oh my God. Just everything. The fact that these teachers have so much say in your life was disgusting to me. Like, how can you sit there and tell me, maybe you didn't do your homework because you're lazy. No, bitch, that's not what it was. So it was just, it was like I was in a toxic environment, honestly. I couldn't deal with it. So now I'm homeschooled. They put me into homeschool.
Mm-hmm.
So now the teachers come into my house. And I'm like, oh, this is cool. I could do this. You know, she came in the morning. She came early in the morning, did my lessons. And by the afternoon, I'm sitting in my room playing Xbox. I was chilling. Nice. I was like, I could do this.
Nice.
So after being homeschooled, for about 2 months, they say, you're doing good. You should go back to school. I'm like, here we go. So I get back, I get sent to another school now. So this is 3 schools that I've already been in.
So you're all over the place. So
I'm all over the place.
What's happening with what's happening with moms right now?
My mom actually started to become a little more supporting. Mm-hmm. She started coming to more meetings. She started asking me, how are you doing today? You know, like, she was trying. She was really trying, and I give her that. Mm-hmm. But she was also dealing with depression herself. So my anger and her depression, we clashed a lot. And now, as, you know, an adult, I'm trying to make up for all that time I missed with my mom.
You're trying to, or she should be trying to?
Both of us, dude. Both of us. Like, if I miss a day that I don't call her, she calls me. How are you? How's the baby? Like, we are trying.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely closer to her. But I'm back to school now. I'm supposed to be a sophomore. Nope. Junior. I'm supposed to be a junior now. So I'm in my 3rd year. Because of all the transferring and everything going on, none of my credits stayed.
What?
I'm a freshman again, dude.
That is crazy.
Exactly. So I'm like, nope, not happening. I'm not doing this, because by the time I graduate, I'm 17 now. I'll be 21.
Yeah,
I'm not staying in school to 21. Hell no, I'm not staying in school to 21. It's not happening.
So did you understand what was going on though at that time? Still at 17, did you understand? Could you fathom what's going on?
I was getting a sense of it, but I still wasn't willing to learn my diagnosis because so many people were putting in their feedback of my diagnosis. So I'm listening to my psychiatrist, I'm listening to my therapist, I'm listening to teachers, I'm listening to my mom, you know, but never have I listened to myself. So after that happened, I was like, there has to be something else. What is going on? Like, what can I do? They tell me, you know, you have to be 18 to do your GED, but the rule doesn't be instated until like September of this year. So I just made it in. To get my GED.
Nice. Congratulations.
In 3 months. In 3 months, I was out.
Congratulations to that. We need a bomb for that.
So now I'm 17. I graduated.
Damn,
I graduated ahead of everyone I went to school with. And they're like, how the hell did you finish school earlier than us? You started in our grade.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, you see, I just did extra homework. Like, I don't want people to know my business.
Yeah, facts.
So this is the first time I'm actually publicly putting it out there, like I did my GED.